Hey, this is Dead Gamer. Good morning. I made a bunch of these videos last night, but this is part two, or day two, I should say, of getting the rest of these done. I kind of started late last night because I was a little busy during the day and just didn't get around to finishing all these videos. So I'm going to try to clean that up today, get the rest of these online so you guys can all check them out in one big old group if you're watching them. And let me know what you think. Also, if you have any questions, I've already got one person who's asking me a particular question I want to make a video about. I don't think I'll get around to doing that today because I have to dig up some Legos. It's a long story, but it's a long story in my head. It was a short question, but my mind just went that way. So, but what this particular video is going to touch on is we're doing the Zone Mortalis again. We're back with more Zone Mortalis. We're also doing the armored Munitorum containers, and we're doing I'm throwing the Thermic plasma regulators, even though this is part of the Thermic plasma conduits sort of line, which is this stuff. I'm throwing this in because it's I've got more stuff going on with the pipes, and I want to group the pipes in with the Promethium, the older Promethium pipes. So basically we're going to go over this guy right here. I did not glue on my platform yet because I'm not sure if I want my platform on there. So, but I'll show you what it looks like with the platform or without it. I kind of like it as a standalone sort of objective, or, you know, just a piece of scenery. The platform to me makes it a little strange, which is why I haven't glued it on. I'm still on the fence about it. So we're going to go over these guys. We're going to go over these containers. I'm trying to hold all these up at the same time so you guys can... It also helps because if you're looking for videos, you could see exactly what I'm talking about. And then the Zone Mortalis stuff. So that, boom, screenshot for the video is going to be what I'm going to go over for this video. So let's dive into it. So again, I've got my fancy Ziploc box underneath my laptop. And I'm just going to bring you guys down here to this little table so you can see kind of what's going on. And we'll start going over some of the things I've discovered. So again, we've got our 3D tile because that's what I'm doing all these with. We'll start off with this box. I've got one side that I haven't glued on because again, I'm indecisive of whether I want the door down or the door up. The other side is glued though, so rest assured you're good there. Again, like all my videos, this tile, this row right here, and this row right here, as well as this crossing and this crossing, are a little larger because they have these, like, thought about it this morning, I'm going to call them French drains. They have these French drains that run all the way up. So it actually makes the tile wider in these sections. But the four corners, the two here, the two here, the two here, the two here, and the four in the middle are a standard tile size. So I'm going to put this up here so you guys can see kind of its relationship to the tile itself. I'm going to go right up against sort of this French drain area. So that's lined up there. Other side, you could see it overhangs. Let's do this. I guess that's a little further because it protrudes out. Let's go right there. So now we're lined up with that line right there. Boom. Cruising across. So we're getting about a little more than a quarter, but a little less than half into that zone right there. For the width, and then for the length, I should say. For the width of this guy, we'll plop that down right there. We're right on that French drain. And we're just barely over the second tile by a little bit. So these aren't basically designed to the same layout of these, but they do have interaction. I'd say not much, but they are interactable with the Zone Mortalis stuff. Mainly, they're about the same height. And when I say that, I mean when you just have your stuff down, like so, it's pretty much flush. Let me see if I can hold these in place and turn that up so you could see. Like, you could see a slight difference there. Mainly because this has, like, where this raised bar is here, 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 and here, it's the same height. So you could put something across there. But when you bring in this element, which is the floor planking, and this clips in to these four corners, if you don't have, because this is designed with these two little sort of teeth down here, and these two little teeth click in between this negative space area. So if you see, it goes kind of right in there, and that keeps that from wanting to slide out. Well, these teeth, they can't lay across this rim right here, or this rim right here, but strangely enough, it does fit between here, not tightly, and it crosses over this little detail. So it will sit like that. If you put it on here, it doesn't want to sit flush on the board, but if it sits right in the middle, then you're golden. And obviously see the amount of play, because they're not the same width. So if you wanted to use these, and let's say you had some of these where you had both sides down, which is kind of a cool idea, you could stick that on your board, and that's going to occupy 3 tiles in space. Obviously, with the door down, it's going to go into the 4th tile on both sides. But if you put this right in the center, like so, and you drop this kid right in here, you literally have passage straight through. And that would be kind of cool. Like, and again, like, this is flush. Everything's good. Nothing wants to move as I'm shaking it. If I stick it up here, watch this piece raise in the corner down here, because it's starting to be, it's being forced up. See how that lifted up down there? So it doesn't want to sit flush because it's resting on this detail right here, these little rims. So if you do want that crossing, you got to get it right dead center, but it'll work, which is pretty cool. So there's that, right? What else do I want to talk about? I did not put on those little latch things here. I know this kit has these weird little like things that come up, so I'm doing this demo with those off, and that's so you could stack these containers on top of each other better. I don't know if that's going to affect this sort of situation, but just so you know, these containers pretty much can be used in this situation. Or, I mean, I'm not saying you can't use them for anything else. I mean, if you have terrain and then this is an open space, you could just put that there, right? You could just flop this down and be like, there you go. That's also just part of what's going on the board. So there's nothing that says you can't. And obviously, as you put stuff over these circular things, they're a little more raised, so they want to rock some more. But there's nothing that says you can't find that happy place right there and use the terrain. But the cool one thing that I found that interacts is its ability to almost be a tunnel, and I love that. I think that is super kind of awesome. Another thing, if you want to know, it sits up here. Really, really nice. So there, it's flush right there. And it's a little shy of being flush right there. So you actually have a little wiggle room, right? It's not complete. It doesn't overlap at all. So that's neat that these will sit up on the second level. No problem, right? And again, they're that long in terms of tile wise. So there's the back there. And there's the front there. It's a little more than 2 tiles. As for if you wanted to stick this up on its ass end, right? Let's stack 2 of these together. You'll notice, let me go with the side that the door's glued down. It will sit underneath it. It doesn't rust flush, and by that I mean that this actually has play. You can see I'm lifting it up and dropping it, whereas the pieces that were designed for this, obviously because they were designed for it, there's no play. You stick it under. Yeah. Come on, buddy. Everything's locked in. So you can put these down if you want to do some kind of thing. If you're thinking of doing some conversion or something like that. But again, that there's this little bit of play, but it is possible. I haven't tried stacking 2 of these because I haven't built 2 of these. But I'm assuming because 1 goes underneath this, that 2 would probably bring you up to, see, that brings you there. Yeah, you definitely have clearance. So you could stack 2 and it would clear underneath this piece right here. Because of how this measures up with a 1 piece. So that's it, I guess, for the armored Munitorum container. I hope I grabbed everything in terms of scales and things like that for your knowledge. Here's it next to a pillar and then a straight wall. Let's do that real quick. It's lined up on the French drain. Let's get it on the French drain. Well, it would overlap because this wall goes. So if you're flush with this wall, which goes on the French drain, it kinda, you could see that there is it's more of an overlap. So 2 of these would actually be longer than this, that, and then a reverse of this and that. It would stick out a little bit more, but you can do it. Next, let's cut into this guy, this little thermic plasma regulator. So similarly, I'll do a little scale thing so you know how it reacts with the 3D tile. So we'll hold this up and I'll kind of, so it occupies essentially 4 squares, and that could be 2 flats with 2 of the French drain squares. Or if you put it on just the straight flats, it's literally exactly, am I getting that in there? There, and damn you, Shadow. Come on, buddy. There it is. So it's literally the length of this is the length of that between French drains. You turn it sideways, obviously you have more space, but it does occupy those 4 squares in the center, which is pretty cool, because then you could just say those 4 squares. If you're playing by tile, like a Space Hulk situation, you could say all those 4 squares are occupied. If you're playing with miniatures, obviously you can put them wherever they fit. But, so that's the plasmic regulator. In terms of width, I'm going to call these like Princess Leia buns, I guess. Because they protrude from the top. So these little Princess Leia buns, they overlap. So if you look at the French drain, we'll level it up on my pointer finger or my middle finger on that side. So it does overlap considerably. It goes there, and then over here it's further past the French drain. In terms of on a platform, same thing. The French buns, the Princess Leia buns, French drain, Princess Leia buns. It does overlap a little bit. So let me line it up on one side perfectly. And then you can see the other side, it hangs off. So if you split the difference, you got a tad bit of overhang there and a tad bit of overhang there. So it does rest on these second platforms pretty nicely. Let's throw that on there. Obviously, again, I always can't stress enough that these pillar pieces, because of how high they stick up, create a problem. They create an unstable surface. But there is a sweet spot in a lot of this stuff that you could find. Let's find the sweet spot here. Come on, buddy. Yeah, that's pretty. This one wants, well, yeah, it's going to be, I guess if you continued it on, let's do that real quick. if you got it off that completely, you're going to be golden. So it'll sit there, no problem. So that's cool. Do a little spinny thing there for you guys to see it. Sorry, the cameras. Let me fix this laptop a little bit higher. There we go. So that's about it for this guy. In terms of stacking, so heights, if you're going to play multi-level games and you want to put a second level here and you want to do second level here, this kid fits underneath, okay? And you've got a little bit of space clearance here. Let me try to hold this down and turn it. Yeah, I hope you see that. There you go. That's the space clearance right there. So you can use that as a sort of a hallway blocker if you turn it this way. Again, you got to find those sweet spots. Anytime you're using this 3D Mortalis tile shit, that you're gonna struggle with some stuff until you find. I suggest getting some tack, which is that gummy, like poster tack or whatever, because then you could just rip off little chunks, stab it on the bottom, you know, just put your little chunks down, and then it'll keep it, like, literally just for the gameplay. And it doesn't do anything to paint. It doesn't do anything to anything, really. It's just there for ability to stick it on something. So you push it down with the tack, and then you've got, it doesn't want to go, right? I probably could even do this now. Yeah. So don't even need to hold it. And obviously the more tack, the better. I didn't put a lot on there. You just pull it off. So this might be your friend buying some of this cheap ass tack stuff for doing things like that. But as for, let's see, what else am I missing? I think I've got it nailed. Let's put these away, and then let's do just a wall here. Again, this wall is the same height as this because this sits inside of there, right? Because of those teeth I showed you. So it's solid. Yeah. So it's going to clear the second level if you want to do something like that. One more thing I guess we should talk about, because I did not glue my thing on, is this little chingadoodad. So let's hold that up. Now, if you notice, this isn't level with even the Sector Mechanicus stuff, which is kind of what it's designed after. It doesn't level up with the platform of Sector Mechanicus. We'll go one level. See how it's higher? And right about there. So it is higher. So it will overlap it, right? Not by much. You know, I'd say that's about a ½ an inch higher. But it is a difference in platform level. So you could do something cool like this. Maybe throw this up here. Chuck that on there. Drop this in here like that. Now you've got a cool opportunity to have a dude jump down if you want. That's probably about 2 inches. 2-inch drop. So, I mean, there's stuff you could play with there. But that's about it. So that's the plasma regulators. That's the armored containers. And that's this stuff right here in terms of its usability. Let's go back to my fancy Ziploc box. Boom. Let's see, maybe this would be a better option. So like that. That's pretty cool looking. So, yeah, I mean, there's that. And I guess that's all I have to say. Got a couple more videos to make. I've got the Ryza terrain, the Ryza pattern, which is sort of that feral world, colonized world kind of terrain that came with, they did its own set, and then they did a kill team set with an actual building. So I'm going to be doing a video about that. And Then I've got the pipes, and then I've got the big one, which is the Sector Mechanicus stuff, because there's a lot of interactions there. So I'm planning on knocking those out today, and we'll get those bad boys up. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you found it helpful, and check out my other ones if that's what if you're jonesing for Zone Mortalis. Zone it's early. I haven't had my coffee yet. I got it right here. Zone Mortalis. So tune in. Talk to you in a bit. Bye.